Hi, we are at Mauka Mojo here in Bandra in Bombay, and we have with us former Red Bull driver David Coulthard, who's going to drive down the ceiling tomorrow. David, first time in India. Have you seen much? Are you excited about being here?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's the first time, as you say, I've been to the country. I arrived at 3 o'clock in the morning. My first journey was coming here to this venue, and we passed by some amazing-looking, restaurants on the streets and like a shopping mall along the sidewalk where you could buy everything from clothing to plastic Tupperware. So I can see it's a pretty happening town.
You intend to stay back after your whole driving down the ceiling tomorrow?
Unfortunately, because the next Grand Prix is in Brazil, then I'm still working with Red Bull. I still work with, I'm now working with the BBC, so kind of doing a little bit like you, presenting to the camera. So I need to go back and get out to Brazil and start preparing for that Grand Prix.
Coming to Red Bull, this year the team has really transformed itself. Now it's a race-winning car, it's a championship contender. Now what has happened? Has the change of rules played into your hands, or is just Adrian Newey due to pen another race-winning car, a championship-winning car?
Yeah, there was a huge change in the regulations going into this season. And the last time we saw such a big change was in 1998. And if you remember at that time, Adrian Newey designed the winning McLaren. So I was very confident that he would come up with a great car for this year. And in fact, I stood in front of the team in December last year and said, next year could be the season where you're going to win Grand Prix and fight for the championship. They're doing it. They've missed out a little bit in the beginning of the season with some reliability issues and a couple of mistakes from Sebastian. But nonetheless, he's got himself back into the championship. And he's an outside chance, but he could win this championship still if Ross Brawn's team has some issues in the next two Grand Prix.
On hindsight, do you think it's the worst time possibly to retire? Because now you have a championship-winning car, you have experience of a championship-winning car. Maybe you could have made a difference?
Well, possibly, yeah. But the reality is I had 15 years as a driver, and you cannot keep going forever. And Red Bull, I drove 4 years for the team, helped build the team up. I'm still involved. And still feel that I'm playing a part in the success of the team. But, of course, I'm just not behind the wheel. But I think they've got two great drivers in Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber.
And when do you stop? Now, when do you know it's time to stop?
Well, for me, it was when I started to question whether I had the commitment to keep doing the level of testing and travel that was involved. Now, ironically enough, what they've done is cancelled testing. So this year there is no testing. So for sure I would have had the energy to do it. But I did 15 years as a driver and 3 years before that as a test driver. So really it was non-stop. Everything revolved around Formula One. And you have to stop at a certain point. It's a bit like Schumacher. He retired from the sport when clearly he could have continued to keep winning. But you got to make way for the younger guys as well.
And Sebastian Vettel, who took your seat at Red Bull, now many rate him very highly. They say that he's the next Michael Schumacher. Do you share the same opinion?
Yeah, I think that he is an extremely talented driver, works very well with the team. Unusual for Germans, he's got a good sense of humour. So, he's well liked in the paddock. And you look at his victory in Japan at the last Grand Prix, that was a world-class performance. So there's no question that as his experience builds, he's going to be someone that could, like Michael, dominate Formula One.
Yeah, and Webber, his teammate, now he's got more experience, but he doesn't seem to be racking up the wins that Vettel is doing. So you think Webber's what? Yeah, he's not up there? Or?
I think Mark took a big hit when he broke his leg last year, and he missed a lot of testing, and a lot of his confidence as a man came from how fit he was. And I think it's just meant that he lost a little bit of an edge. He pulled it back mid-season, great victory in Germany at the Nürburgring Grand Prix. But he's just lacked that last little bit of pace in qualifying. And if you start one place further down, it's incredibly difficult to overtake in Formula One.
So what is the solution to overtaking? Everybody's beating the heads about not getting overtaking, getting the spectacle back in Formula One. Doesn't seem to have worked really.
Well, the difficulty is that these cars are so aerodynamically sensitive. It's a bit like when you're in an aircraft going through clouds. They move around a lot. So when you're in dirty air following another car, you lose efficiency and the car moves around. So they need to work on aerodynamics to try and help other cars follow. They've assisted that with adjustable front wings. They've tried to clean up the aerodynamics, but it'll be an evolving process.
And the new rules were supposed to aid that, isn't it?
It was, but it's incredibly close out there. And normally, if you have the quickest car qualifying at the front, why would a guy in the middle of the field be able to catch him and overtake him? By definition, he wasn't as quick.
And do you think with the diffusers, if you had the diffusers right at the start, do you think Red Bull would be in the place of where Braun is right now?
Yeah, Braun took a big advantage having the double diffuser, as did Toyota and Williams. And when Red Bull finally got on top of that, which was around Silverstone, that's when they really started to put in some good performances. So it was another one of these rules interpretation from the FIA that by the time they actually confirmed it was legal, you had already lost a few races.